Greetings. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Strategy Vault Live. I'm Gio.
And I'm Felix. It's Thursday and we're diving into sales tactics. Time to close more deals, guys.
So come on down
Now,
and let's
let's crack
crack open the vault. All right, so before we jump into our segment today about talking about the power of closing deals, let's just give a quick shout out to our first sponsor. Felix, hit it. Is your business feeling like a hamster on a wheel? Let Strategie Conseil shoot you into this stratosphere. No spacesuit needed. They'll streamline your sales process, automate your workflows, and help you ditch the grind. Ready for blast off? Hit stratégieconseil.ca and let the countdown begin. All right, okay. All right.
Yo. Today's program, bro. We're talking about how the ability to close deals what is impacting your future, your ability to trust your own capacities, to trust your own potential. We're going to be talking about how closing more, like at least closing your first deal, of course, impacts your income, but it impacts your mindset for the course of for the rest of the course of what you're engaged in, basically. So if it's a business, being able to close more deals will impact your future. So let's unpack that,
So we'll
George.
also touch on some pitfalls as well, like
Yeah, of course.
why experience alone doesn't guarantee results, and how fear usually signals you just need more knowledge. So let's go through some questions over here, some back and forth questions, and try to pick our brains a little bit and try to let you know how we think, and hopefully you guys get some value out of that. So, Phil, I'll let you go ahead with it.
Yeah. So you know how big I am on closing more deals to finance your ideas, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, of course, we're all talking about money when we're thinking about sales, but how big I want to know your take on that, George. How big do you think it is to be able to trust your closing abilities, to be able to close other people on not only the stuff you're trying to sell, but your ideas in life?
Well, it's the difference between success and failure, right? It's the single most important thing to achieve your dream is to be able to sell that dream. Whether you're just selling houses, in order to make your career successful, you need to sell houses, right? Or if you're an entrepreneur and you need to pitch your idea to investors to raise money, whatever it is, literally whatever it is, even if you're working a 9 to 5 job, you need to sell. You need to sell the promotion to your boss. Why do you deserve the promotion? So
Hmm.
with sales, with good sales skills and confidence, you can literally get anything you want in life. That's why it's important. It is the most important thing. Maybe like I'm trying to think of an instance where it's less important, but still is important. Let's say you're a really smart doctor and you have a stable job as a doctor. I think that's the only way that you'll be. You know what I mean? Like if you were talking about pure, and even at that,
Even at that,
you'll still need to sell you still need to sell yourself. You need to go, like, you to be
go
a
see
good doctor.
family.
You're gonna need to talk to the family of the people who are of the patients, and you like why you think surgery is necessary. Like whatever, you need
Mhm.
sales in everything, bro. I tried to flip the switch in my brain just to find an instance where it's not important, and it's literally important in every single aspect of life, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel it. I feel the same way. I've read, and of course, I've read countless books. And you could say that these guys are preaching for their own, their own good, I guess. But I feel like you're right. Even as a librarian, like anywhere, any field, you would have to sell something and or at least developing these sales capacities and abilities will improve your trust in being able to navigate. Um, but let's dig deeper, bro. Like I want to explain more why, but I feel like with examples, it's so easier to show people. I hear it all the time, and I've even seen this week a post by a very popular person. I won't say the person's name on LinkedIn. The person was asking um, why cold calling is still existing in 2025. Like, is it still relevant? And people were so mad. Like it was like huge debate in the comments because some people,
Hmm.
what are you talking about? I just hanged up the phone and closed the deal for a multi-year engagement over a cold call. I just secured this deal, that deal, and some other people are tired of it. They're like, "Why are you calling me?" I see that every day on LinkedIn. People complaining about like
Maybe
cold
you.
call.
I would tell those people like maybe you and I could understand. I could understand you don't want to be solicited, but the truth is that there are people that have needs that will listen to you and that will buy from you. At the end of the day, like if you're calling people to wash their windows or you're showing up and you're ringing their doorbell, there's going to be some people that are going to be upset and they're not going to be happy. Why is this person disturbing me on a Sunday? But then there's going to be that person that's super happy and that's going to praise you that you showed up ready to solve their problem. So it's really a numbers game if you think about it, because there's just going to be the pissed off people, and it's okay. You be respectful and you move on to the next one. That's it. And you maybe leave a business card. You never know. In the future, they'll probably see your name or your logo again and be like, "Hey, I know that. I know those people." And yeah, so that's it. Like it's we can't listen to those. There's always going to people. There's always going to be people that have a negative connotation, a negative like view on salespeople. But like at the end
At
of
the
the
end of
day,
the
like
day, the
people
statistics
have
shows that.
problems. People have problems that need to be solved, and maybe we'll integrate into our podcast. We spoke about it last week, but we never last year, but we never did it. Doing live sales calls, but obviously masking the other person's or the caller's voice and showing like real time calls. Why
It's just
not?
the
It's good to.
consent
I think
part. It's just the consent part that we need to fix because it's hard to
I
do
wouldn't put
cold
their
calls without having consent, and then showing that on lives is pretty messy in terms of like
I wouldn't
consent.
put their voice, so I would mask their voice. I would hide it. I wouldn't put their voice. I would just show like maybe me doing the phone
Mhm.
calls. And obviously masking obviously any names or addresses or phone numbers, whatever it is. But could be something we look into in the future.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right,
explore
okay.
that.
So let me ask you a question, Phil.
Yeah.
They say once a prospect decides, everyone stops worrying. Have you seen that in action with your own clients? Once a prospect decides. So let me like frame that
Yeah.
better, I guess. Like a prospect like makes a decision on whether or not they decide to go ahead with your product or service.
Both sides
Everyone
stop
stops.
worrying.
Why?
You know. So the point of, I guess the point of that question is asking me like if I've seen that with my own clients. Of course, as soon as we sign, and as fast as possible. I like speed matters. I see it all the time. Yeah, he's gonna talk to the owner, and they're gonna think about it and see what other people like. Speed matters so much if you want to improve your closing ratios. So if you want to improve your closing ratios, you need to be able to find. It's either you find the gap where other people are not going, and you know that if you find these clients fast enough, they're gonna sign fast because they have a need right now. And so it's either you find the gap of your competitors where they don't want to go, and you call these clients,
Yeah.
or you you create a sense of urgency as fast as you can. So if you're in a very competitive field and you have a service that's being detailed by other competitors, you need to put a pressure on the price. So if your price is like, you try to enter and say, listen, this deal is now because we're there, and that's what we've been doing. Because we're giving these guys deals because we're actually on the street. So once I'm there, So you need to organize that depending on your business. But for us, for our own clients, everyone stops worrying because instead of going, yeah, okay, I'm just going to call you next week. No, listen, you have a decision to take right now because
Yeah.
this deal is going away as soon as we're finished. So
Right.
tomorrow we're gone. You need to find
Let's.
out now if you want this deal. And they
Yeah.
close. They do. And you're, of course, like it impacts your closing ratios, your bottom line, your everything.
You got to close them when they're hot. You can't give them time to to think, and not in a bad way. Give them time to think. It's just that after they're gonna approach other, they're gonna approach your competitors. They're gonna
Call
talk
their
to their wife.
competitors. Hey,
They're
we
gonna
make you the
call.
same
They're gonna talk
price.
to
Well,
somebody. Oh no, don't do it. Instead, just get it done now. Do like you said. Put there needs to be a sense of urgency. You got to take it now, otherwise it's done. Kind of like Donald J. Trump. Look at the way he handled the tariff negotiations, where he put up those tariff threats, and he made them. He put an urgency on it. Think
time
about it. He put an
sensitive.
urgency on those. Yeah, it was time sensitive. Do it. Meet my demands. If not, the tariffs are going to go through. That was his
But
his angle on it, and he ended up getting.
I like the analogy, but I don't like it at the same time because this is more like this is public, right? This is politics. So this is really putting pressure on the public, and like I'm not putting pressure on anyone by doing what I'm doing. I'm just offering them a deal and telling them, listen, I have this deal. We're both winners if you're taking this deal. You have a discount. This is not what Donald J. Trump did. Donald J. Trump went
Is it not both?
super
Is it? But is it
bulldozer.
not both? Is it not both countries benefiting from stronger borders? You could argue that.
I don't
You could
want to get
argue
into the
he's
politics
forcing
of
them
it.
to.
Really, like
He's forcing
people
them
are
to
suffering.
strengthen the borders. So
I won't get into that. Like it's
sometimes you gotta take a hit for the greater good. But okay, we'll move on to the next one.
lol.
Yeah, I'll let you go. Actually, you know what? Let's get on to our next sponsor. Speaking about dirty desks, there's dust all over my desk over here. You know what? I need to call Les Entretiens Uninet to help me with my cleaning problems over here. I need to get a quote. I've been meaning to call them. Spring's around the corner, and I need to get those windows clean. Is your office starting to look like a tornado just touched down? Let Les Entretiens Uninet restore order. They'll tackle every nook and cranny from floor to windows so you can stay laser focused on closing those deals. Ready for squeaky clean workspace and sharper mind? Uninet has got your back. Give them a call for a quote today. All right, okay. Felix. Felix. Go ahead.
So, have you ever met? Because we're talking about sales and how to improve ratios, control your closing abilities, right? And you got me off the edge with your Donald Trump thing, bro. So I lost my thing, but what do you? I want you to go on your Donald Trump thing and tell me why you think this guy improved because his deal. We don't know what's the deal. What's the deal with
from the surface?
guy?
From the surface, right? This is what we know. We're not behind the
What
scenes.
does he want? He wants us to become
a
U.S. state, right? That's what he wants. He said that.
He has some valid points. I know he's a bit of a wacko, but he has some valid points. Like the thing with the tariff that he forced Canada to meet his demands by this day. If not,
it's not about the border.
Through.
It's not about the border.
But wait a second. So Canada technically agreed. Okay, we're gonna send 10,000 troops. We're gonna appoint a border czar to the border, and then he backed off with the tariffs for 1 month. So he put them in a position to meet their demands, and the demands that technically have been met have been there to strengthen the border for both sides, not just for the benefit of the United States. But think about it. He sold them the idea of send more border people and stop the flow of fentanyl through the border. Like
whatever that means, but yeah, okay.
Excuse me. So
Because the
Maybe it is.
fentanyl
Maybe
is
it is a
coming
good thing.
in Canada, not out of Canada. But okay.
We don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know for sure. I don't think anybody
Well,
knows for sure.
yeah,
But
we know
one
that.
thing's for
But
sure is
okay.
USA is spending a shit ton more. Excuse me. I have something in my throat. Like USA is spending another one of his complaints was USA is spending a lot of money on military. Canada is not. Canada's not spending a lot on military. Why is that fair? I agree with that point. Why isn't Canada spending money on military? Everybody in NATO is supposed to spend 2% of their GDP. Canada is spending like 1% of the GDP, and USA is spending like, I don't know, 4% of the GDP. So they're paying more to protect everybody. Why should it be like that? Well, yeah, I know he's a wacko. There's certain things that yeah, he's a fucking maniac. But like some points, it's hard to disagree, you know. But then again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so I don't know.
But your parallel was saying that putting a time sensitive is like Donald Trump. But he like I understand what you mean, but he didn't put it. It's not quite the same thing. He basically he raised stuff and put pressure on pain points and like, but that's not necessarily time sensitive. You know, that's not time. It's not like time ticking time bomb. It's not that. It's not like, hey, I have this deal for you and me. It's good, but tomorrow it's gone. So I feel like it's basically not the same thing. He has another tactic, and we should like to
Strength.
really
I guess
understand
he's
Donald
using
J.
strength.
Trump. I feel like you and me should read his books instead of
The
just
Art of the Deal.
and is it The Art of the Deal?
The Art of the Deal, yeah. And he talks about stuff like that. He talks about strength, negotiating through strength. That's one of his
without me
his
talk
things, you know?
like without me having read this book. It's not like I want to read this book, but if I want to talk about this guy, I need to read the book first to really understand. Even if he didn't wrote it himself, I need to understand. I need to understand really like the mind behind the guy, and then I'll tell you. I need to read some Donald Trump stuff first. But
He has actually a book on
opinion,
closing. He has a really good closing book, and he teaches you like how to negotiate and close deals and stuff like that. He's definitely an aggressive. He's a special guy, honestly.
yeah, he's the aggressive type. Let's say
Yeah.
it like that. And he's not the only one. Let's be real. And I've had my like Donald J. Trump is not really impressive to me because I've had Daniel T. Something else. Like I've had these DJT, DGT in my whatever, like called another name, but the same personality, the same type of guy, the same type of like bulldozer in terms of negotiating. And I've had to deal with that. And you know, like it's an art. These guys, like you say, they have
It is an art. You're right.
a certain way to like destabilize. How do you say that? Destabilize you. Sorry. And you need to be able. It's like a wave. It's like these surfers. It's like any sport that requires you to be like on a board in a very slippery surface and still be on it and do tricks. Like there's guys doing that. There's guys making money out of it. And of course, it's very difficult. If you start surfing tomorrow, you will crash your face. So negotiating with Donald Trump the first day, if you never did that, you're going to crash. You're going to be like, it's impossible. And you'll cry. You'll lose. Of course, these guys are like, but there's a way. It's possible. In my opinion,
the way it's possible. The way it's possible to negotiate with him is you have to give him something to get something.
Give him a bone.
I believe that if you go in there giving him something, he'll give you something. You know, you'll get something out of it. That's how a deal should work. Like maybe he could say, you could argue his tactics are a bit like extortion or whatever you want to call it.
Like a dog, you need to give him a bone.
You need to give him a bone.
On the other side, your people, they're in the back. They're in the back, and they work like all together because he's not the only one. There's states, there's governors, there's like all these people. They will still be there in 8 years, 12 years, 40 years from now, we need to think this guy will be dead, and we'll like maybe us too, or we'll still be there, but whatever. Like, it will continue past Donald J. Trump. There will be an after Donald J. Trump, and like as either as a business owner or, name it, prime minister, governor, you need to be able to, give him what he wants, but do what you need to do in the background. That's my thing. But that's politics, bro. That's politics. If we're talking true sales,
like the things that he says, Canada has been treating us very unfairly. Like, those are just like, come on, like, those are just like tactics. Like, what do you mean we're treating you unfairly? Like,
those are old
certain
tactics,
things that.
bro. So
like,
old,
he's definitely using strength, bro. We'll see in 1 year. We'll talk about it in 1 year to see if he actually did good for the world or bad for the world. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows? I actually believe he's against wars and stuff like that. You still there? Your camera went off.
Weird. I have no problem. Let me check.
I think he's more against wars than the previous administration. I think the previous administration is more marionette style, more puppet. He's less of a puppet, I think. But time will tell, man. Honestly, you want to go on to the next question?
So, have you ever met a veteran salesperson who was underperforming because they never updated their closing skills? That's a good one.
Have I ever met a veteran salesperson who was underperforming because they never updated their closing skills? Let's break it down. Let's break it down a second. I can't say that I've met a salesperson who was underperforming because they never. Well. So let's think about how you used to sell back in the day back in the day of like selling stocks over the phone, Wolf of Wall Street, 1980s style. You would call people and say, "Hey, John, right now I got this stock that just came across my desk called Aerotime Technology. They're making cutthroat technology, state of the art. And they're just on the cusp of groundbreaking technology around the corner." That shit doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
That shit, like Wolf of Wall Street, that shit doesn't work anymore. There's people got scammed too many times, and people now learned. And there's different. You need to do different ways. There's different ways of doing that now. You can't just be a stranger calling somebody and asking them for money. Like, what is this grandmother scams? Like, no, it doesn't. Or does it? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that style works anymore.
So how do you update? Like, my next question
how do you update
your skills?
So let's see. How do you appeal to the new like baby boomers now it's Gen Y, right? Millennials and Generation X.
Yeah.
So now you got to sell to those people. No cap, bro. Buy this. No cap.
But does it work? And because what I've read this week was, selling on Facebook is so powerful, and it is. People have jumped from
Facebook Marketplace, bro. Did you see those memes where they're just
not
driving?
Marketplace?
Hey,
like
is this still available?
No, but
Facebook ads. Yeah, it's
sponsored ads and all that stuff. Like, one could argue that cold calling is dead. Is it really?
It's not. It's how you approach it that changed.
Everything doesn't sell on Facebook ads, right? Like, everything is not sellable on a.
I think there's like 1% of people that'll buy right away when they see an ad. Like, I've bought from ads, but never from the ad itself. I see an ad and I'm like, I like that product. I'm sold on the product, but I'm gonna go on Amazon and I'm gonna go read reviews. Oh, it's good. Okay, I'm gonna buy it on another source. So I saw an ad that said that there's only 1% of people that are ready buyers from Facebook ad. That's still pretty good, though. If you think about it, that's still amazing. 1%. So 100 people see your ad, one person buys it. That's really good.
Targeting is super important. So it really depends also how you target your things. So,
that's true, yeah. How creative is your ad and all those things.
But your targeting is so important.
But when you say, I just want to clarify your question. When you say like because they never updated their closing skills. Does that have to do with their closing skills
Well,
as
you
how
and
they
me, we're a good
sell,
example. We
or
started
what
like more than
channels are
10
they
years ago.
using?
We started more than 10 years ago, you and me closing. And you and me used some of the techniques that were used in the 90s and the 80s, like because we got our information from these guys, right? So even
Right.
us, we had to upgrade our techniques because obviously it was not all working. We had at one point to like sit down and gather knowledge about the new ways to sell and the new ways our clients um, were basically, we've had clients telling us, hey, if it's still presented this way, I'm not going to be able, like, I'm going to sign this. Like, do you remember this client who told us, I'm going to sign this deal with you guys today, but the way it's presented, it's too old school. I need more transparency. I need more, like, I need more, I need to see more. And so you need to adapt. In payment processing, when we used to work in payment processing, showing these prices was not an option, and telling these people like the rates on the phone was not possible. Now I see it all the time. I see it in Facebook ads. They show their pricing right on the ad. So it
But
changed.
the premise of closing remains the same and will never change, right? The generating lead process, the cold initial contact is always going to be there. You have to generate leads. And then the closing factor, the it factor is the having a sense of urgency. There's maybe the type of urgency will change, but there always has to be that urgency for them to sign right now, right? Like for example, like our promotion ends tonight, so if you want it, you got to take it now. So that little technique will change, but at the end of the day, there'll always be the same process to close: generate leads,
And like we
you know,
said, like we said
introduce,
earlier, you find new
inform, and
ways.
then close. You find new ways, exactly, new creative ways. But like back then, when I think about the 1980s, when the stockbrokers were selling stocks over the phone, I don't think that works anymore. I don't think you could just call people randomly and sell them stocks, unless maybe you're working for a reputable bank. I don't know. I don't think that like that works like it did back then. People made a shit ton of money selling stocks over the phone. I don't see that working today. Like with all the trust that was
Mm.
lost,
But yeah,
people got
with
ripped
these
off,
movies,
and
people saw the movie, right? They
yeah,
know.
that too. Exactly.
So
So I don't know. It's a great question, Phil. I'm not 100% sure, but I think personally, like the process stays the same. Just maybe the way you do it, the types of incentives change. Maybe stuff like that. All right. Okay. Um, I'll move on to the next question. If unless I don't know if you had
yeah,
anything else that you
sure.
wanted to add, but so they mentioned fear is just a lack of know-how. Have you personally overcome any sales fear by learning a new strategy?
Not even a new strategy, just learning more about my product was more than enough sometimes to give me
Mhm.
more confidence on the phone. I'm talking like back in the days when we started, I was really not
Yeah.
confident on the phone. I was scared. What helped me a lot was overtime outside of work, because we were not allowed, right? We were on the phone all day. So there was no reading part when we were working at the call center. So I was
Yeah.
doing off off the clock work at home, reading everything about payment processing, going to Visa Mastercard website, trying to understand the
Mm,
interchange and the assessment fees and all these fees that were related to my industry, trying to learn about the
good.
competitors. I was
Great answer.
reading
Yeah.
every night for a good two
So knowledge.
years. Yeah,
Knowledge is the cure for fear. Knowledge is the cure for fear, and it's the way to gain confidence.
yeah,
Knowledge
because
is
I was
confidence.
showing up with new
Yeah,
information,
you
talking to
believed
my
in it. You
boss.
believe in it. You believe in the
But
product. You
yeah,
believe in it. You
but
like I.
yeah,
You like
yeah.
I know it's and back to that story about when I closed the dependable guy, because I knew so
Mm.
wholeheartedly that I'm saving him money, a lot of money. I'm not leaving unless you sign, sir, ma'am, with respectfully. Maybe it might come off as arrogant, but just I don't want to get back into that story for the millionth time, but
No, no, but it's
just say like,
interesting. It's interesting to talk about it because your knowledge here was so strong about
yeah,
the capacity that your service had really the capacity to change this
yeah,
guy's bottom line every month. And I remember
Yeah.
these moments when we were doing payment processing for these people. It was so confusing, the assessment fees, all that stuff. It's financial language, right? And for us, it was so clear. So sometimes believing is important, because if you
Believing is
lack
important.
believing and you don't really understand the intricate parts of your financial product that you're selling, you won't be able to really believe that you're changing this person's bottom line. Really.
Yeah.
You and
And it's gonna
me
show.
studied the assessment fees, the interchange. We knew. We were watching the cards and we were like, bro, we're saving you a ton, shitload of money.
Yeah. And then the opposite was also true. The opposite was true. Whenever we knew that the client was with a provider that was cheaper than us,
it was like, bye. Yeah, we're not trying.
I'm not even trying.
Good,
stay exactly where you were. And I felt good about that. I felt good about telling the client, like, your product is cheaper than mine, therefore stay exactly how you are. And they would all be thankful. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you
rare
for telling
that you
me.
have people like that. Thank you for telling me. And then they know, next time they'll think of you, I guess. I think we have time for one more question, Phil. I know it's a bit past 30. We can go for one more question.
Do you believe success should be repeatable rather than a random stroke of luck? How do you make it repeatable? I love that question.
Ooh, great question. Do I believe success should be repeatable rather than a random stroke of luck? So the harder you work and the more you work, the luckier you tend to get. The more places you throw yourself in, the luckier you get. If you don't show up, you won't get lucky, right? I believe it's a mix of.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to say, like, I believe it's a mix of both. Like, I believe that success is the recipe for success is trial and error, fail, continue, keep going. And if you just keep showing up, no matter what you do, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that it's true, and I've achieved success this way by continuing to go, fail, continue, and then eventually you hit, and you start to see the light. So how do you make it repeatable? Well, you learn, right? You're learning along the way, and you're gaining knowledge through failure, and then you don't repeat the same mistakes, and that's how you repeat it. So
I feel like we were talking, you talked about knowledge. I was talking about knowledge a little earlier, and I was thinking as you were talking, when I was young, when I was scared, when I was showing up at work in fear of not necessarily losing my job, but I was not in control of my results. I didn't know if I was going to close the day. So I really thought that external factors were impacting my capacity to close. That was the biggest,
Very well
I wouldn't
said.
say mistake, but in your mind, it plays a big role. While you're dialing, they say smile and dial. There's a reason for the smile and dial. It's not just a joke. Smile and dial means you really need to show up with the proper mindset to be able
They
to
feel it.
like,
They feel it when
so
you
the client
smile.
hears it on the phone.
I'm smiling right now. I'm smiling right now, and I'm talking to you. You hear
When
the
you
smile.
smile
You
and
hear
you're
it.
talking,
You
he can
hear
hear
it.
it.
You feel the energy. You feel it. Look, I'm smiling, and now compared to this, you feel it. You feel that
And
I'm
you
smiling.
darken
You don't
up
feel
yourself.
it right now.
Yeah.
Right now, you don't feel it. Right, but right now, you feel it. You feel
Right
it.
now,
The
it's
energy
so
is.
true.
It's all about the energy, man. All right. So our last sponsor of the day.
Oh yeah, it's true. Let's go.
And I wish I was in Montreal right now because I would
Man.
love to have some beautiful
Admit it's torture
Portuguese.
because you got it every single podcast. You got it in your face. Admit it's torture.
It's so good, especially that Portuguese poutine. Do you ever feel like your taste buds need a vacation? A Quinta restaurant whisks you away to Portugal. No passport required. Their fire grilled dishes and cozy vibes will make you forget the hustle in one delicious swoop. Check them out at 1851 Rue Ontario East in Montreal, or visit them at aquinta.ca. Make tonight a mini getaway. I was there last week and I had their Portuguese poutine with the mixture of chorizo, chicken, and my goodness.
There's nothing like that in Montreal.
Oh,
we need to have Olivier
like
Primo.
like
this guy is testing all the poutines in Quebec. We need to have Olivier Primo test the Portuguese poutine.
Dude, they're so packed. They're so packed. I saw Rick. I went to eat there the other day. I've never seen the restaurant. He's like, it's like this every night. I'm like, yeah, of course it is. We're because of our podcast that we have you on our podcast. That's why he started that. He's like,
oh, it's funny, bro. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for staying with us. Please subscribe, like, comment if you liked this content that me and Jord are giving you every single day of the week. Please tell us what you like, tell us what you didn't like. We like all kinds of comment, even the negative ones. We don't care. We like the critics. Bring on the critics. I want some critics. If I have some critics, it's because I'm not in obscurity anymore. So I can't wait to have some negative comments. I actually can't wait to have some Frenchy comments. Hey, Frenchy! Simmer down, Frenchy! I can't
Let me know how you feel about the tariffs.
Let
me know how you feel about whatever you want to talk about. Just let us know, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And thank you very much. We love you very much. And make sure you're here tomorrow for Freestyle Friday. Until then, focus on upping that close game. And we'll see you next time.
Ciao, guys. See you tomorrow.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you.
Thank you, George.